Well, good morning. Thought I'd take this opportunity while I have a minute to talk about some things I've been thinking about. Specifically, I've been hearing about tariff scare. People are scared about the tariffs that the president is currently using as a tool in the economic struggle, whatever we want to call it. But there's some fear around tariffs, around what's going to happen in the economy. Uh, like one video that I watched was, well, tariffs are always bad. Everybody agrees on that. Every economist agrees that tariffs are bad. They're like junk food, um, or it's like hitting the economy with a hammer to try and adjust it. It's like, okay, so that's one take on it. But the very next day, I saw an economist say, well, tariffs are the very best thing the president could be doing right now. It's like, well, which are they? Are they the worst thing, for everybody, or are they the best thing that we could do right now? Um, I don't know. I'm not an economist. I've just heard people talking about this, and I thought, what are they scared of? What are people scared of? Well, they're scared well, that we're days or weeks away from having empty shelves of necessities. Um, well, that happened back, if you remember, 2019 or 2020. Yeah, mostly 2020, the end of 2019, early 2020, with the start of the pandemic, that scared people, started grabbing up everything that they could off of shelves, and then there was a whole issue with getting goods transported and everything like that. But tariffs don't quite work the same way, from what I can understand. Um, so I want to break down exactly what does a tariff mean in terms that my children could understand. So my children, they've worked with other kids down the block. They do occasionally they'll sell, do a lemonade stand, and they'll also sell homemade candies. So to illustrate what a tariff could be like, let's say that my kids have their lemonade stand. They make their own candy to sell at it, and they found that while making the candy, they can just buy or pay their friends to do the lemonade. And so as their friends do the lemonade, they pay them, a certain percentage, and then they mark up from there. Well, let's say their friends far down the road, they also have a lemonade stand, and they sell the lemonade that they make, but they don't want to make their own candy, so they buy candy from my kids to sell at their lemonade stand, so that way they have the variety to sell to their customers, brings in more customers that way, and everybody profits and everybody's happy. So that's completely free trade. They're just buying and selling from each other and reselling at a higher price. That's the free trade principle. Buy from one person, sell at a markup, make profit. Well, let's say that the owner of the property where our friends have their stand set up decides that everything that they buy from us, they need to get a cut of. So, say they're selling it in front of their parents' house. Their parents say, well, if you're buying candy from your friends up the street, well, then you need to pay us a certain amount on each of those sales. So then, can our friends actually mark up the cost of the candy that they're selling? Well, not really, because then if they mark it up too much, well, I mean, they might mark it up a little bit, but if they mark it up too much, then people will stop buying it. So then it's less profitable for them to sell it. Anyway, Anyway, it gets complicated really fast. But that's the idea of a tariff, is that the landowner, in in the case of a tariff, the company that you're doing business in decides that everything you bring from outside needs to cost, yeah, you need to pay the landowner or the government for. Um, so that's kind of what's happening currently in the economic climate, is that President Trump is saying that anything that comes from outside, you need to be paying the American government for. And this kind of encourages you to do things on your own. So say it goes the other way. Say that we start charging our kids for bringing in lemonade from their friends. Well, they could raise their prices, but that generally leads to lower sales and lower profitability, because, well, they're still making this. Even if they're still making the same profit, they have to make. It's a harder sell. Anyway, the problem is with continuing to do that, well, if we can just make it ourselves, sure, there's a bigger upfront cost. We have to buy the supplies and everything, but in the end, we don't have to pay the tariff. We don't have to pay our parents for bringing in something from the outside. So then we can just actually make more profit because we're making it here, using our own ingredients. It's like, yes, it was convenient, it was nice to pay somebody else to do it, and they were making their markup and then we were making our markup. But with the tariffs, it makes more sense for us to continue to make it ourselves instead of continuing to start making it ourselves rather than to continue buying it from our neighbors. So that's how I would explain it to my children in a way that they could understand. So for this video, I guess what I'm wanting to say is, the way I see the situation now is the scare is never really what never really pans out to be what it's about. People freak out about things and get scared about things that really aren't that big a deal in the long run. There may be some short-term discomfort. There may be some shelves empty of things that you're used to. Generally not necessities. Necessities may go up in price, but there's always other options. It's like there's not a monopoly on necessities. And when I say necessities, I mean things like food, water, shelter, and clothing. Now, fancy clothing, luxury items, there is a potential for those going up and being out of reach for a lot of people temporarily. So I don't think you need to be scared about, like, oh, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Yeah, don't do that. Don't get scared. Fear makes you do crazy, stupid things when that's your main motivation. I'm not saying that you should never allow fear to motivate you. What I'm saying is, view the future with confidence that you can overcome it, and don't let temporary discomforts be a reason not to do something that's beneficial. And so that's my take on it. Hopefully that's interesting or useful. The other thing I would say is, I am glad to see somebody in office, to see that the way that the country is being run now, even if you don't agree with it, even if I don't agree with their decisions, at least they're doing something definite. At least they have a plan and they're moving forward with it. Because if you gave in to everybody who naysays whatever you're going to do, you'll never do anything. So, how we apply this to our lives, I'm going to have a plan. I'm going to move forward with it with a definite purpose. And yeah, I'm going to expect that people are going to disagree with me, to say that what I'm doing is stupid or wrong. And I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to try things and see where they lead. Use all the tools at my disposal to move forward. Because really, a poor decision is better than no decision. Because at least then you know and you can adjust. Anyway, that's it for today. Hope you've had a good time here, and we'll talk to you later.